Picture this. You're driving home from work and you decide to stop at the grocery store. Quick trip, right? You go inside and find the items you need, check out and head home. But then you do it again the next day and the next. Even though you didn't really need anything, it starts to feel like a compulsion. Now imagine that instead of going to the store, you're sitting in your bed. At first, it's enjoyable, maybe even relaxing. But just like with the grocery store visits, you find yourself doing it more frequently, almost compulsively. Soon, the simple pleasure becomes a daily, maybe even hourly routine. That is when it might be time to take a step back and consider what is really going on. This is the story of one man's journey to understand his compulsive masturbation habit. Through therapy and self-reflection, he learns about the role of dopamine and emotional regulation in his life. He also discovers healthier ways to process his emotions and develop new habits. His journey is a reminder that understanding our motivations can help us break free from any negative cycles we might be stuck in. Welcome to our channel, where we explore psychology to help you navigate the complexities of human behavior. Today, let's talk about compulsive masturbation. But before we begin, please hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on our latest videos. And stick around until the end, because we have a special announcement. John is a 32-year-old man who has been struggling with compulsive masturbation for as long as he can remember. He feels like it's getting in the way of his relationships and responsibilities, but he doesn't know where to start to make a change. Over the years, John has tried to reduce his masturbation habit, but always ends up slipping back into his old patterns. He often finds himself feeling guilty or ashamed afterwards, and wonders if he should seek professional help. Have you ever felt guilty or ashamed after masturbating? If so, you're not alone. In fact, there are a lot of misconceptions and stigmas surrounding masturbation that can make it difficult to talk about openly and honestly. But the truth is, masturbation is a normal and healthy part of being human. It is a way for us to explore our own bodies and pleasure, and can be a positive and empowering experience. However, like anything in life, moderation is key. According to experts, compulsive masturbation can be defined as frequent masturbation that causes distress or impairment in important areas of functioning such as work, school, or relationships. So, what exactly is causing John's compulsive behavior? Well, it is important to remember that everyone is different, and what works for one person may not work for another. Some people may use masturbation as a way to cope with stress or difficult emotions, while others may use it as a substitute for human intimacy. Whatever the reason, it's important to understand the underlying causes of John's behavior in order to effectively address it. One of the key factors contributing to John's compulsive masturbation habit is the reward system in his brain, specifically the neurotransmitter known as dopamine. When we engage in pleasurable activities, our brains release a chemical messenger called dopamine, which plays a significant role in our motivation and desire to repeat that behavior. Dopamine is often referred to as the brain's feel-good chemical, because it creates a sense of pleasure and satisfaction that reinforces the behavior. However, over time, the brain can become less sensitive to dopamine, leading to a phenomenon known as dopamine resistance. This means that the same level of dopamine is no longer enough to produce the same level of pleasure, and individuals may start to seek out more and more intense experiences to achieve the desired effect. In John's case, he may have reached a point where masturbation no longer provides the same level of dopamine release as it did before, leading him to engage in more frequent and intense masturbation sessions in an attempt to achieve the same level of satisfaction. But dopamine isn't the only factor at play here. John's emotional regulation also plays a significant role in his masturbation habit. Emotional regulation refers to the ability to control one's emotional state and responses to external stimuli. When an individual has poor emotional regulation skills, they may turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as masturbation to soothe themselves when they are feeling stressed, anxious, or bored. John may have developed this habit as a way to escape from his problems or to avoid dealing with them directly. This avoidance behavior can become a maladaptive coping mechanism that can negatively impact his life. Fortunately, there are strategies that John can use to improve his emotional regulation skills, such as mindfulness, meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy. These strategies can help him develop healthier ways to cope with stress and negative emotions without resorting to masturbation. Now that we've explored some of the potential causes of John's compulsive masturbation habit, let's discuss some of the signs and symptoms that he may be experiencing. One of the most common signs is spending an excessive amount of time masturbating. While it's normal to masturbate, it can become a problem if it is taking up a significant amount of time that could be spent on other activities. John may find himself spending hours each day masturbating and neglecting his other responsibilities, such as work or school. Another sign of compulsive masturbation is experiencing negative consequences as a result of the behavior. Masturbation should be a pleasurable experience, but if it's causing distress or problems in one's personal, social, or occupational functioning, then it may be a cause for concern. For example, John may be experiencing relationship problems due to his habit. Finally, a third sign of compulsive masturbation is feeling a lack of control over the behavior. If John feels like he's unable to stop masturbating despite wanting to, then it may be a sign that he's developed a habit that's beyond his control. This lack of control can be frustrating and lead to feelings of guilt or shame, which can exacerbate the problem. Now let's explore some of the ways that John can overcome his compulsive masturbation habit. The first step is to understand the underlying causes of the behavior. As we discussed earlier, dopamine and emotional regulation play a significant role in compulsive masturbation. By understanding these factors, John can develop strategies to manage his dopamine levels and improve his emotional regulation skills. The second step is to develop alternative coping mechanisms. As mentioned earlier, mindfulness, meditation, and cognitive behavioral therapy can help John develop healthier ways to cope with stress and negative emotions without resorting to masturbation. These therapies can also help him develop skills to manage his dopamine levels and reduce the urge to masturbate compulsively. Another important step is to develop a support system. Reaching out to friends, family, or a support group can provide John with the emotional support and understanding he needs to overcome his habit. Sharing his experiences with others who understand what he is going through can be incredibly helpful in developing a plan to address his compulsive behavior. Finally, John needs to set realistic goals for himself. Overcoming a compulsive habit takes time and effort, and it's important to be patient with himself. Setting small, achievable goals can help him build momentum and stay motivated as he works to change his behavior. It's also important to celebrate his successes along the way, no matter how small they may seem. As John continues to work on overcoming his compulsive masturbation habit, it's important for him to remember that he's not alone. With the right support and strategies, he can develop healthier coping mechanisms and improve his overall well-being. So what can we learn from John's story? Firstly, it is essential to recognize that compulsive masturbation is a real issue that can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, or sexual orientation. It's not something to be ashamed of, but rather a problem that can be addressed with the right support and treatment. Secondly, understanding the underlying causes of the behavior is crucial in developing effective treatment strategies. By identifying the triggers and motivations behind the behavior, individuals can develop personalized plans to overcome their compulsive masturbation habit. Finally, seeking professional help is a sign of strength and self-awareness, not weakness. With the guidance of a qualified mental health professional, individuals can develop the tools and strategies they need to live healthier and more fulfilling lives. And here's a special announcement. Our platform is now available as an app on both Android and iOS. Download the app to enjoy the same great content wherever you go. We hope this video has given you some insight into the psychology of compulsive masturbation. Remember, you're not alone and help is available. Please don't hesitate to reach out to a mental health professional if you need support. Thanks for watching. See you next time.